Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Penn, and welcome back to the channel. So, this won't be a long video. This is going to be how you can go about researching, practicing, learning about how to get into cybersecurity with little to no coding knowledge or minimum coding knowledge. Cybersecurity is a broad term, and I have some tabs open for you guys just so that I can share knowledge because some of you may be new or some of you may have some concepts that you may want to expand upon. So I'm here to sort of like tie that in together. All right. So cybersecurity is a broad term. Essentially, you're going to have technical jobs and you're going to have non-technical jobs, things like that. So a simple search, cybersecurity jobs that don't require coding, because there's sort of a misconception that you have to have like this extremely technical background and years of experience in order to break into cybersecurity and things like that. And that's simply not true. You need to have a little bit of luck. You definitely need the network, but more importantly, you need to do your research and you need to have a skill set that you prefer to specialize in so that you can stand out amongst the crowd and you can be successful in your career journey. So examples of that would be like security operations center, SOC analysts, cybersecurity consultants, compliance officers, risk analysis, incident responders, GRC, government's risk and compliance. And I actually got an email on that quite recently. It's pretty interesting. But monitoring threats, managing security policies, ensuring regulatory compliance, those are not like hands-on technical things that you typically hear of, like Active Directory or troubleshooting, like a printer going down, or if the network is down, just to give you some examples, right? But generally, with these, they rely on knowledge of networking, security tools like SIM systems, and frameworks like the ISO, the GDPR and HIPAA, PCI DSS. So there's different sort of like paths that you can definitely like research and you can align yourself with based off of your personal preference. And it's all about what you want to do at the end of the day. So there's non-technical roles and then there's technical roles. And generally speaking, once you get the experience, and you can get the experience by doing hands-on labs, participating in projects at your current company. You may want to do some shadowing of some higher leads or in a different department, and if they can bring you in on these projects to have you contribute. Sort of like doing some stuff on the side, or even if you're not in that situation, there's a plethora of resources that's out there that can help you build upon your foundation and get you some projects in order so that you can get some things on your resume so that you can speak to them in the interview when you have the opportunity to do so. All right. So definitely look into cybersecurity jobs that don't require coding. I just use what the AI gave me. I know about these job titles, and these are not the only examples. These are just some of the ones that may be popular that you see on many different job sites, when people are searching for jobs and roles and things of that nature. Um, Another thing is that when you want to get into the field of cybersecurity, it's going to be extremely hard, especially if you're starting out, if you don't have like any real experience. And one of the ways in which you can build a foundational understanding and something that can expose you to the different concepts, that's in security in general, is the Security Plus certification. And the latest one is 701. And I'm on the exam objectives PDF, right? Now, you're going to want to study for this, and I'm going to do a follow-up video on how I passed Security Plus in just like 17 days. And generally, you want to look at all the exam objectives, and you can read books. There's courses, there's different like forums, threads, like private, I imagine Facebook groups, Discords, Telegrams, and even the platform that we're on now, YouTube. you can look up how did people pass Security Plus or what sort of study materials did they look into. Security Plus is going to be like that initial foundation. Now, of course, you should always know how to troubleshoot, how to build a PC, how to take apart a PC, how to do some essential network troubleshooting. But in this particular example, I'm not even recommending that you look into A plus or Network Plus at this point. I'm starting off with just Security Plus because that's going to be the biggest standout overall, especially when it comes to people reviewing your resume and how you can implement that on the interview. Now, I'm going to be giving you a heads up for those of you that are looking to get into cybersecurity roles, and it can be technical or non technical. I think a good security professional overall needs to at least understand the basics knowledge of networking. So you can study the Network Plus in preparation for your Security Plus because there are some overlaps when it comes to the information, and that'd be a good idea that I would suggest that you implement into your studying habits. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is something particular. 4.6 on Security Plus. Given a scenario, implement and maintain identity and access management. So, identity and access management is essentially uh, giving people uh, the least amount of access to things so that they can do their job at the bare minimum. So it's making sure that the right people have access to the right things at the right time. It implements a zero trust and then least privilege. Any organization that values security is going to have a identity and access management program or some sort of implementation at the company. And now with the Security Plus, it's giving you things like provisioning, deprovisioning, identity proofing, single sign-on SSO, access controls, role-based, rule-based, least privilege, time of day restrictions. These are different things that are going to come up or can be in the day-to-day that you're going to be doing as an IM professional. Multi-factor authentication, password, length, complexity, reuse, expiration, age, password managers, things of that nature. And the reason why that this is so important because it's considered mission critical. It's also considered recession proof because despite what's going on in the economy right now, you're always going to have a need for identity and access management employees, whether they're analysts, engineers, consultants, or architects. Okay. So I definitely want to bring that up to you because this is a real thing that's going on and it can definitely boost you in your professional journey. You just need the foundation, the network, and the skill set in order to pull it off. So one of the sites that I like to suggest is udemy.com. They're actually having like a sale at the moment, and you can come on here and get you some courses, for cheap. So anything that you want to learn in the cybersecurity realm, you can watch you some YouTube sources for free and just to get you a general idea, but you may want to go down into some specifics and then you can pay for them. There's no problem with that. Another thing, especially when it comes to something like that hands-on stuff, like when it comes to your projects or labs for practice, you want to look into tryhackme.com and Hack the Box. So Try Hack Me and Hack the Box are cool resources to where anyone can learn cybersecurity with Try Hack Me because they have hands-on cybersecurity training through real-world scenarios. But if it's like the general or the basic rooms where you can complete in 2 hours, I wouldn't recommend putting that on your resume. Put something that's going to help you stand out or try to do like a real world project that you can see someone in a professional environment implementing. And then you may have to ask around, or better yet, use AI and just have artificial intelligence create like a learning path or a project for you, and then see if Try Hack Me has it, and also use Hack the Box and see if you can utilize them so that you can get that sort of real world experience, but you're in your home lab. So, it's a home lab situation where you're just trying to get that foundational skills in place. and use it to the best of your ability. Okay, so these are sort of like resources and different ways to where you can jump into cybersecurity, and it don't require you to have coding experience. You know, I gave you examples of jobs that you can look into. And then for the technical roles, like identity and access management, depending on what it is, you know, you're going to need some scripting experience, but having this software engineer background or being like a unicorn in that space for like code and whatnot, like that's not even required for you to be successful and for you to definitely potentially earn six figures in this specific industry. So hope this helps. Let me know if you have any general questions. Feel free to email me if you want some specifics. And then let me know what you guys think ultimately about this video. I'm going to be doing some follow up soon and hope you guys enjoying the content on the channel. Until next time, peace out. Thank you for watching. Take care.